Mistakes beginner magicians make. If you're a beginner and you're interested in learning magic, here is some great advice for you. We all learn from our mistakes, so I thought it makes sense to start with some top mistakes that beginners make, hopefully saving you the time in making those mistakes yourself. I'm Ari Phillips, magician. I'm a professional magician and proud member of the world famous Magic Circle in London. I've been learning the art of magic since I was about 7 years old, and my first professional gig when I was only 12 years old. I've been involved with all styles of magic, that's from grand illusion shows, kids parties, intimate close-up magic shows, and I've had my fair share of sort of mistakes which I've learned from, and potentially I want to share those mistakes with you so you don't have to make the same ones again. So with my experience, I'm able to share these great tips with you here right now today. So first of all, first mistake, what is it? I'd say that most beginner magicians, they focus on the method and not the effect. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, when a new magician starts learning magic, they sort of so focus on the method of the trick and how to achieve it, the sort of the sleight and using sort of the steps and thinking about the steps in order and, you know, how is it going to work and what's happening next, and sort of one thing that's missing is the presentation. It's kind of compromised. For instance, you might have your head down, sort of looking at your cards and not engaging with the audience. You might miss magical moments and the opportunity to enjoy playing off with your audience and sort of interacting with them. Because remember, a lot of the magic comes from good old acting. It's the key to creating a powerful magical moment. It's not sort of to let on what it is you're secretly doing down here or looking at focusing on the cards. It's focusing on the audience and the performance for them. You'll be surprised really at how many mind-blowing effects there are out there that are reasonably simple and easy to do, but play big. See, if you focus on these and focus on this, then you can focus on your performance until you're comfortable with your performance before moving on to the next trick. It's really so important. It gives you a chance to concentrate on you and your audience and your trick and the effect, I guess, rather than the method. Which brings me on to my next sort of point, too much too soon. Less is more, so keep it simple. So invest, but invest your time, don't spend. With all the exciting magic trailers and dealer demonstrations and YouTube videos out there, it's so easy to get carried away and buy everything that you see. It's funny, but it's not just a problem with beginner magicians, but magicians in general have this problem. The problem here is that you get sort of stuck where you find yourself buying effects and just almost to know how the trick is done, or because it looks amazing and you think it might be great on your sort of social media feed. But a lot of the time it sort of looks more amazing than the trailers, and it really does. And there is a good chance that you'll just end up having it in a drawer in one of your rooms, sort of full of magic and props that you just don't use. So having lots and lots and lots of tricks and knowing how they're all done doesn't really make you a good magician at all. Maybe a collector, but not a magician. A magician takes sort of time to practice and improve and perfect the tricks and effects that he likes, that sort of suits their style and personality, and sort of gives them an opportunity to sort of perform them well and get great reactions. So if you keep just buying trick after trick or watching tutorials after tutorials just to learn more magic, it's just not going to help you sort of and your magic improve. So less is more. Choose a few tricks that you really like that's suitable for your level and your skill set. Master them, keep performing them. And you'll find that you'll do much better than having a huge repertoire of magic that you can only perform mediocre. Sort of who wants to be known as the mediocre magician? You want to be the great magician that people remember. So it's far better to learn a few tricks, do them really well, so that you can perform them at the drop of a hat. Always have something up your sleeve, for instance, excuse the pun, but to perform at a moment's notice and do it really, really well than to learn everything you can and do it unconvincingly with poor showmanship. I mean, that's not just great. I mean, it's just not going to sort of leave a good taste in people's mouths. But, you know, put your time and your effort into making your favourite effects better. That's great. And as your magic improves, you'll then have the chance, you know, to keep performing these effects, and you'll be able to add twists to them and sleights and additional flair to them as your magic improves. But as I said earlier, concentrate on the performance first. So invest your time and learn great magic, but don't go out spending loads just for the sake of it. And if you do, I guess, research it, check the reviews, make sure it's suitable for your level. Always buy original material and learn it well. So, a good point to remember, as I said, less is more. And this is key when being a beginner. So by keeping the magic and the techniques simple, That'll allow you to spend more time working on your performance, your persona, your magic style, and sort of presenting it. So it's important to feel relaxed during the performance. So, I mean, you don't want to be nervous, and you get nervous if you don't know your material well enough. So, and a nervous sort of performer is uncomfortable to watch. It's almost, it's just awkward. So it's almost impossible to put on an entertaining performance when you're too busy concentrating on your techniques or the tricks. So by learning these simple tricks and really developing your confidence and your performance style, and sort of you're able to sort of charm, I guess, the audience with your personality or your persona, and shine through, because you're simply entertaining your audience and making them laugh and smile and enjoy the experience of magic. And that is key, I guess. By keeping it simple, it allows you to concentrate on your performance. Show off. Be a performer, not a show-off. So what do I mean by that? Well, there's two types of magicians: the show-offs and tricksters, and the entertainers. It's always better to be the entertainer, as it leaves people surprised with a sense of wonder, wanting to see more. You see, the show-off, on the other hand, it looks great, it may be great, and people may say, wow, that's clever, smarty pants, but often they're leaving sort of feeling cold or annoyed and thinking, well, how did he do that, rather than the sense of joy from being entertained. It's not about, hey, look at me, look at how clever I am, but it's almost about, hey, let me come over and show you something that's really going to entertain you. Because by all means, sort of learn impressive magic, and learn great skills and flourishes, but concentrate on your performance. Use it as a way, I guess, to enhance your sort of performance and not just show off, Use these skills to enhance the material that you're showing, rather than saying, look at me, I'm the show-off, I'm the best magician out there, and then forgetting to entertain. So anything that you do, any sleights that you do, or any sort of flourishes you do, use them to contribute to your performance, to make your performance better, to make it stand out, make it memorable, but don't be the show-off, be the entertainer. So beginners tend to repeat the tricks. They get asked, can you show me that again? And they do, but never repeat a trick twice. It's just sort of like a good joke. It's just never good the second time you hear it. People either want you to repeat the trick because they feel they've missed something, or because they kind of want to work out how it's done. But neither reason is good enough for you to perform it a second time. It sort of just opens you up to scrutiny, and the more you show them, the better chance you're giving them to sort of work out how it's done, and then once they know that, then the magic's lost. You're no longer an expert in their eyes, or a magician. So instead, slow down your magic when you perform. Maybe sort of slow it down and present it so there's no way of them missing anything, and then they won't have to ask, can you see it again? And if they do ask again, agree to do it again, but maybe do it differently. So what I mean by that is ambitious card routine. It's a great example. So the card keeps magically coming to the top. So when it comes up, instead of keep coming back to the top, maybe you show it again, it comes to the middle, or it goes to your pocket, under the glass, but it keeps coming back with a different result. This is okay. But for it to keep coming back to the top in the same place, the same thing each time, it's sort of boring and predictable, right? Wouldn't you think? So maybe when they ask, just say, I have a better trick to show you, and go on with the next one. Something to add or sort of be aware with is, although when performing live, we can sort of avoid having to repeat a trick, it's almost impossible, however, to avoid people watching your magic over and over again when it's on social media. This is something that I've always sort of shied away personally from doing until recently, since we've been in this lockdown. But it's because it sort of gives away the surprise, but also because, again, it opens you up to scrutiny. Because I feel that showing all your magic online, spoils the element of the surprise, yeah? Also, people just love to watch the clip over and over again with the hope that maybe they'll work it out. Even watching them in slow motion, I've heard. So it sort of means that, I guess, they can view the clips over and over again, and they can try and work it out, and it may be fine for you, but it's giving the magic away. So if you do, I guess, try to do something online, then make sure it's flawless, and make sure that you're not revealing anything that it shouldn't, because if you do, you're spoiling the magic. So forgetting the magic moment. Yeah, that happens a lot. Beginners always forget the moment when the magic happens. Keep your eyes up, confident, encourage applause, and remember, every trick should have a magic moment. A moment when, in the eyes of the audience, that's when the magic actually appears to happen. Even if sort of you're way ahead of them and the magic's already happened, for them the magic's just about to happen. This also makes it sort of a great gives you an opportunity for an applause cue. So for instance, a simple snap like I just did, a wave of your hand, anything, a blow even, even using the magical word with children at a children's show. That's when the magic is supposed to happen or has just happened. And that adds drama to the performance and makes good theatre. So remember, the magic moment is always important when performing, that you look at your audience, engage with them, present and connect with them. It's essential when you want to capture and engage them and keep their attention to make them feel involved in the performance. So hold your props high, be confident, not low and sort of at your crotch as I said earlier, but sort of up here and sort of in front of your face. This is, heads down's a no-no. So many young magicians and beginners present this way because they're nervous or they haven't practiced enough to sort of take their eyes off the trick. And this shows and reveals as a beginner. And it's kind of uncomfortable to watch for the audience as well. So, and it makes it awkward for them to sort of want to sort of volunteer and sort of be a spectator. So a lot, I guess, is coming out of this way because these days people are sort of getting so used to performing on YouTube and practicing like this that they don't go out and practice for, in the real world and performing for real people and a real audience. So they're used to being with their heads down. And as previously mentioned, if you have rehearsed enough, you shouldn't have to think about the trick and how it works, and you should be able to concentrate more on the performance and the people, and this means that you're able to focus on your spectator, focus on your audience throughout the whole trick. And when you engage with them more, and then you do this with your props and your magic and whatever you're using, whether it's cards or kids show magic or anything, you come across far more confident. People want to sort of watch you longer, and then when you do have a sort of a moment or a magic moment, they're going to applaud. So always remember that magic moment, and there's nothing wrong with encouraging the applause. So make sure you do pause very briefly and allow time for the magic to happen, and applause will come. So when something does happen by magic, you could consider, I guess, holding it close to your face, blow it, magical gesture, hold your arms out. There's loads of different ways, again, as I mentioned earlier, but holding it there for a moment will encourage your audience to applaud you, which is great. And it feels good. So we love applause, and I guess you love it, and that's why you do it in a sense. And there's nothing better than doing a performance at the end or at a party and the event and all the other tables here. You're there and they hear you getting this wonderful applause and cheers. So everyone else will wonder what's going on, and they'll want to come over to you they'll sort of call you over to come to their table next. And if you're doing a paid gig, at a beginner you won't, but if you are doing one, the person who booked for you, they love that, and they'll hear that you're having a good time. And that's because you've entertained your audience, you've engaged with them, and you've given them a chance to see some real magic, and you've I guess, given them a chance to applaud you as well. So remember, don't forget the magic moment. So, again, beginners, forget about the story. No story to tell. What's the story? The difference between being a professional magician and a beginner, or even an amateur, is that a professional magician takes the time and to consider a story and takes the audience on a magical journey that draws them in. Through moments of wonder, magic, and amazement, they can really take their audience on a proper journey of magic and wonder. They tell stories, they engage the audience, not just because of the great trick, but because they've captured their imagination. Magic is visual, and the audience can see what you're doing. But to add a story while you're performing adds to the theatre and the drama of the act. Okay, well, unless of course you've got music, but then you can still add music to it, and that creates a story. So it draws the attention and makes them curious. This is so much more exciting than just saying, now what I'm going to do next, and what I'm going to do, or what I'd like you to do, and then telling them what you're going to do. Where's the surprise in that? Don't tell them. We'll go into more on that in a moment, but so if you're not creating a story for the magic you present, then know your magic so well that you can engage with the audience while performing it without even having to stop or think about your next move or what you're going to say. This is often why there's dead moments in patter. While the beginner magician is kind of thinking what they're doing, what they're going to do next, or the next step, or the next move. It's kind of like a filler. What I'm going to get you to do next, what I'd like you to do. It gives them a chance to think about it and the next action, but it's not great magic. It's not great performance. Should you know your trick well enough, then there's going to be no uncomfortable dead spots and pointless sort of fillers in your act. This will also avoid quite uncomfortable moments when you're asking a volunteer to sign a card, for instance, and then you're standing there waiting. You're not engaging with the audience, for one, and it's dead silent and it's awkward for people watching. It might be okay if you're on a one-to-one sort of situation when you're doing magic just for one or two people, but when you have an audience, you just can't have that. If you know your routine well enough, you can then proceed with asking them questions or their name or telling a joke or explaining to the audience why you're getting them to write on the cards. It's something rather alien and odd to so many people. You'd be surprised how many people question you when you say, can you sign a card? On the front, on the back, really? Explain them just that the reason why we're getting you to sign a card is there's no duplicates in the pack. It keeps the dialogue going, educates them, I guess, a little bit, and avoids any uncomfortable silence. And that's also knowing and, I guess, being comfortable with your magic. So there's no need to learn a script as such by heart, although in some cases probably helps. But the idea is it's good to know your magic well enough that you can act and be fluid and comfortable without having to say what I'm going to do next, for my next trick, etc., etc. That gives you a chance to be able to play with your audience, talk to your audience, have fun with your audience. So think about it. Unless it's a silent act and you've got music and, think about how you're going to add drama to your act, add a story and create some interest. So continuing on from, creating a story and, what I'm going to do next. Don't say it. Don't tell them what you're going to do next. Why would you reveal the punchline again to a joke before telling it? It's the same. Or give the answer to a riddle before explaining it. It just sort of kills the surprise. So why tell your audience what you're about to do before doing it? If you do, it's only going to increase the chances of getting caught when you're trying to do this sort of magic move and also weaken the drama of the story that you're trying to tell. I mean, there are some situations where you do tell people what you're about to do because you really want them to focus in, but you're way ahead of them. It makes no difference at all. So come up with a reason as to why you're doing it, but don't tell them you are going to do it. Don't tell them you are going to make something vanish or where it will reappear, unless it's, I guess, part of the routine or a children's show or something specific. But I guess by doing that, you're only adding heat to your performance and the audience will burn you and sort of they'll want to catch you out. Don't tell them yet until you're clean and the trick can go smoothly. So what you can do, however, is recap. This is really impressive when you can reinforce what the audience believe that they've just sort of seen and done before you come to make the reveal. So how would that work? So again, you've got your audience member and you finish the trick or about to reveal the card and you just remind them, you go through it. Remember, you selected a random card, you put it back in the deck, you shuffled it. There's no way I could know or even locate it. I remember I didn't even touch the cards, remember? I didn't touch them, you've been touching them the whole time. Wouldn't it be amazing? Wouldn't it be amazing if you found your card inside my wallet or in my back pocket or wherever it's going to be? Because that reinforces to them what's happened. You're not telling them what's about to happen, you're telling them what has happened. I mean, you'll be super surprised at how they remember the order of the events when going back and telling their friends and telling the story in the future. I've seriously had some seriously over-exaggerated stories I hear that come back to me, and they're just brilliant. I'm sure you probably hear them in the future too. But remember, surprise is the key to keeping the magic and why we do it. This is exactly why we do it. Keep the suspense and the drama, I should say, in your routines and your acts. And don't be going telling them what you're about to do. Keep the surprise. It just makes for so much better sort of drama and theatre and magic. Okay, copycats. Okay, really you don't want to be a copycat. You want to be the best you can be. You want to be yourself. Be the best you that there can be, because no one else can be you but you. Be the best you there is. No one can be better than you. Be original, be unique, and be yourself. It's okay to just be yourself, but don't be copying somebody else. It is okay to be inspired by others, and we're all inspired by our heroes and learn from others, but it's not okay being a copycat. So take what you know, learn it, develop it, make it yours, create your own persona and develop your own personal style. That's how you sort of make a name for yourself and earn the respect from your fellow magicians. So it's tough at first when you're trying to decide on sort of, I guess, who you are and your persona and your character and magic and who you want to be and how you want to be perceived. But generally I found that the best magicians out there that I can think of are just being themselves. You know, they're either naturally funny or serious or mysterious, or they're, you know, maybe a little odd or something about them. But trying to copy or emulate how they do their performances is just not going to work for you because it's not you. But I'm not referring to magic, the tricks itself, as more often or not that most magicians tend to perform a lot of the same material. It's not about adding, I guess, you know, it's not about the actual trick itself. It's about adding a special touch to that trick that makes it yours and makes it you. It's always better to develop your own pattern, your own presentations, and consider everything from sort of individual tricks right down to the way, I guess, you choose how you go from one trick to another. Okay, bring your unique style to magic and you'll never go wrong. Remember, there's so many magicians out there, and why do they choose you over anybody else? I mean, assuming you're all good magicians, and you know, it comes down to your personality. They connect to you and they like your style and magic and they want you. So remember, be you and be the best you that you can be. Self-teaching, nothing wrong with it, but so many young, I guess, beginner magicians, not just young, but beginner magicians feel that watching YouTube tutorials is enough to get them to where they want to be. Although there's some amazing tutorials out there, there's also some pretty bad ones too. But nothing beats learning magic like having a mentor, mixing with other magicians, reading good books and learning from others. A YouTuber video can't really evaluate your performance or give you feedback, and that's really, really important when learning magic. So the interaction with others and sort of being able to perform for others, but actually being able to get that feedback back, that's telling you that you're on the right track. So do yourself a favor and get a mentor, do a course, join a magic club and mix with like-minded people. I mean, you don't have to go do them all, but do some of them. Learn as much about magic as you can, because learning is fun, especially learning magic. It's just extremely fun. There's no doubt in my mind that I'm lucky to be working and studying and learning something that I'm so passionate about and earning a living from it. And the same could be true for you, but it's not always easy just to learn alone. And you will always learn so much more and faster by having, I guess, the support of others around you doing the same thing. There's so many resources out there. You can learn from sort of books and borrowing them from the library even, or there's DVDs and watching countless YouTube videos, going to magic shops or joining a course, or the ultimate sort of, I guess, getting a mentor, or even joining a magic club. There's so many resources out there, which is, I guess, great, as I mentioned. And the problem is, I guess, there's just roadblocks and hurdles along the way, and trying to learn material that's not right for you or just too difficult for you, or you're learning it for the wrong reasons or the wrong way, is difficult. And I guess when you just choose to self-teach yourself and you learn it on YouTube, there's no one there telling you, wait, don't go that yet. It's too difficult for you, too complex, and you're not ready for that yet. There are steps to learning magic, and I guess having a mentor or joining, I guess, a club or a group or going to magic conventions will help you, that keep you on track and make sure that you are learning the right material for you. You're not jumping ahead, and it's not just about learning every trick that you can learn. But don't get me wrong, teaching yourself, we all do it. All of us magicians out there, that's how we learn. We started by getting ourselves a book, we sat down, we read it, it was a DVD, we'd watch it, but we're never alone. Always having someone else with us as you sort of go from being a beginner to sort of an improver magician. You'll find that there's going to magic shops, or going and, just even seeing the library, or just wherever you are, mixing with other people, stops you actually learning alone. It gives you a support network, and you will find that your magic will improve immensely. Asking for a volunteer. Really, it's just, you hear the term, you don't ask, you don't get, right? Well, nothing could be further from the truth when performing magic, especially when you're a beginner. It's very rare that you'll get someone putting their hands up and wanting to help the magician, unless you're a kids magician or entertainer doing kids shows. People tend to be reluctant and sort of more nervous about being called up to help a magician. It might be because they've had past experiences of being embarrassed or seeing someone else being embarrassed or humiliated in front of an audience. I'm not saying you're going to do that to them, but they don't know based on their past experience. So it's no fun for the spectator, and it's not good practice as a magician these days to sort of embarrass them, but they just don't know. So it becomes harder for us to get the right volunteer. So the best way for us to get someone to help and to help you with a trick, for instance, is ask them directly. So invite them into your show. Hi there, hi madam. Looking at them confidently in the eyes, would you please sort of take a card? As you bring your hands out towards them and just say, can you please take one? And I'm sure they'll be able to assist you. Or, madam, please assist me on stage, as everyone gives you a round of applause. And as you put your hand out to hers to join you, or him, or whoever it is, the audience already claps and they feel sort of obliged to go up, and they're not going to dispute it. So this doesn't give them a chance to say no, and it opens your, sort of doesn't really open yourself up to sort of embarrassment or failure, because you're confident you won't by saying so. Now, if you call up a volunteer and you say, I'm looking for a volunteer, can I have someone to help me? And no one puts their hands up to help you, it's rather embarrassing. It puts pressure on you as a performer, and it doesn't really look great. And if no one, responds, it just feels awkward. So then you have to sort of try and find the right person. They might be a bit reluctant because no one wants to go up. So it's far better just to walk up towards someone, ask them their name. Hi, what's your name? Take their hands and say, please give them a round of applause to X, for joining me on stage and helping me with this next trick. It's going to make a big difference to you. It's going to make things easier for you. So don't always ask for a volunteer. Do you want to see a trick? It's let me show you a trick, or I've got something to show you. It's just a different way of asking people and getting people involved in a positive way. It makes a big difference to the way you perform your magic. When you start out as a magician, you believe that everyone loves magic. Well, let me tell you, everyone loves to laugh, yes. Everyone loves to smile and be happy. And magic sure does bring the best out in people. But not everyone likes magic. Some love it, and they can't wait to see more. While others might find it frustrating or only watch it because they sort of want to know how it's done, or maybe don't like it at all and just don't even want to watch it, right? You've probably seen people and know people like that. But ideally, it'd be great to perform magic only to people who like magic. And if you're lucky enough to have your own sort of West End show or Broadway show, then that's great. As people are sort of paying for you, and it's sort of paying for a seat, in a theatre to watch your show. However, more often than not, that you'll find yourself performing at parties or weddings or functions and to a complete mix of people, and even in a restaurant, And as wonderful as it may be, not everyone likes magic. So we sort of need to be aware of this. By approaching people, if you're working in a bar or a restaurant or just, wandering around and learning the magic, by approaching people and speaking with them, you'll soon get a feeling as to whether you should be performing for them, how much to perform, what type of magic they may like, what to do next. It's really important to listen and sort of, if they don't want to see magic, then respect their decisions. The key is not to take it personally. It may be that they love magic, but it's just a bad time. For all you know, maybe they've just had a serious discussion or going through a tough time, a divorce maybe, there's an illness or a death in the family, and it's up to us as entertainers just to accept it, politely thank them, say thanks for your time, be friendly with them, maybe suggesting that if you change your mind, just let you know that I'll be around for the next hour, whatever it is. Wish them well, say have a great day, have a great night, good evening, whatever it is you're doing, and make your way on to the sort of next group that you're going to perform to. Approaching people and groups, is tough, and it's a tough topic for beginners, but a lot of magicians have troubles with approaching people. You can speak for, I can speak for ages on this, but if there's demand, we can do another chat about that later. There's always going to be times when you perform to a group, as I said, and there's people, and there might be a heckler in the group or someone who just doesn't like magic. It won't take you long to establish who this is, because often they make it very vocal and they're happy to sort of shout it out, and just be yourself, be polite, and do the best magic you can for the rest of the group. Hey, maybe you'll even surprise yourself, and if you put on an entertaining performance, you may even convert the non-believer or the heckler, sort of person that doesn't usually like magic, but they enjoyed your performance. It's happened to me, and I say it is so rewarding when it does happen. And just make sure that you are entertaining, and it's not about tricking them, then that's the thing. And just remember that not everyone loves magic as much as you do. So finding the right audience, being polite, going out and doing your best you can, and I'm sure you're going to do great. So, buy now, perform tomorrow. What's that all about? The introduction of Amazon's by now. Everyone thinks that they'll buy something now and be able to perform it tomorrow. And these days, so many magicians, especially beginners, want to be able to just buy the trick and be able to perform it the next day. This may be okay with some sort of self-working tricks, but it's not going to make you a great magician. The key to being a successful magician is, I guess, putting in the time to practice. Practice makes perfect. And before you sort of show anyone a trick and present it, just make sure you practice. To be good at anything, anything, practice is essential. Just as if you were sort of playing the guitar or the piano, you just got to practice. Even to play chopsticks. The key here, excuse the pun, but the key here is to practice, practice, and practice some more. Work on a trick step by step until you're sort of comfortable with it and you're happy with it before moving on. And the best way to do this is sort of through a learning process and not jumping ahead. Don't just sort of try and learn everything that you see because it looks amazing or you've seen someone else do it. It's a trap that so many aspiring magicians often fall into, and buying loads of visual tricks and then just not getting around to learning them properly. Everyone does do it, but it's just a trap. And if you try and just learn or just try and just buy one trick at a time and work on it, you'll get to know that material that suits you and not just waste loads of your hard-earned money on tricks and effects you don't use or that don't work for you, but you'll be investing your time in learning tricks properly. So choose the right one for you and your skill sets, something that you sort of enjoy sort of performing and practicing it until you get so good that your sort of sleight of hand is indetectable and you don't have to think about your moves and you can solely concentrate on entertaining your spectators, because that's really what it's all about, remember? So I repeat, practice, practice, practice. And never perform magic without it being practiced and rehearsed first. Learn it, practice again, and then I guess perform it seamlessly without error, and then practice some more. Only then, when you are ready to present to your friends and your family, and then going out and performing it to, I guess, the real world. See, by going out and performing it, you will get, I guess, more confident and be able to hone on your skills and sort of polish your performances. The more you do, the better act you will have. However, don't perform just to anyone until you're happy with it. Use a mirror. Use a mirror to perform in front of. Use your phone to perform in front of. It helps when learning something new, and you can also use your camera. Using a camera, I guess, your camera phone to record yourself from different angles helps you spot anything that you may not sort of want your audience to see. Take all opportunities to perform in front of a live audience as much as possible. Whenever you get the opportunity, so you can be practicing your skills. There's every chance that you're going to experience problems and mistakes along the way. It happens to the best of us, and we're liars to say it doesn't. I guess it's just how you deal with it that differentiates you between being an amateur or a pro or a beginner. But I guess on your next performance, you sort of learn from the mistake that you've made, and it's all about learning from your mistakes. So, as a magician, you should never stop learning, and you never will stop learning, never stop practicing. But make sure you always have fun, enjoy what you do, don't go out and buy absolutely everything, concentrate on what it is that you want to achieve, think about the type of magic you like and focus on that. And learn a couple of tricks, 1 trick, 2 tricks, 4 tricks, whatever it is, learn them really well before you move on to the next one. Otherwise you're going to have drawers full of magic that you just never use. Promise you. It's better to learn to do magic with what you got and do it well. Beginner magicians tend to stay in their comfort zones and they find they're nervous and it's hard to sort of get out of that comfort zone. It can be daunting, make you really nervous when performing live at first, the first time. I still get nervous before every single show. Not because I don't know how I'm doing it or don't know what I'm doing, it's just because I want to be the best I can and it gives me that adrenaline rush. But if you are nervous and you're nervous about performing, the best way to get over this is just by doing it as often as possible. It does get easier the more you do it and the more experience that you get, I promise. But I promise you, whenever I go out, I'm always getting nervous. Anyway, it just makes my show, I personally feel it makes my show better. So you may feel nervous to approach people with your magic, and for reasons it's totally normal. It doesn't matter which reasons it is. You probably find comfort in performing just for your family and friends only when starting out. But in order to succeed, you need to get out of your comfort zone and you need to push yourself and perform for anyone who is happy to watch you perform. Of course, after you've had enough practice first. We tend to worry, what if an effect may go wrong, or it doesn't go as well as it should, or it doesn't go as planned, or whichever sort of, I guess, fear that you have when you're starting out, you'll get past it. But the more practice that you put in, the less chance that's going to go wrong. You may worry more about maybe how the audience is going to respond to you. Like I mentioned earlier, if I concentrate on my performance and engaging with the audience, then they'll warm to me or they'll warm to you, and that will be far easier for you. So just again, practice. It's all magic. It's all down to practice, and it's all down to the performance, and it's pushing yourself. But the more comfortable you are with sort of presenting and being with people, if something does go wrong, they're going to warm to you. They've already warmed to you. They'll accept it. But if your head's down and you're performing and it's a bit uncomfortable, they're going to be sort of less eager to sort of want to see the next one. So it's about being confident and, just putting on a false confidence almost. You've got to push yourself. And if you push yourself, you will find that it gets easier. It does. So put yourself in situations where you sort of purposely put yourself out of your comfort zone. So what does that mean? I mean, for instance, don't just practice at home in front of your TV, but practice your routines. These are the routines that you already know and you're confident with, but practice sitting them maybe when you're on the bus or your train or on your way to work or on the way to school. You're surprised how curious people are when you've got a pack of cards or doing some magic with some rubber bands and stuff. It sparks conversation, and usually something like, "Hey, you're a magician. Show us a trick." Now, of course, you would be out of your comfort zone there, but you want to practice with people that want to see it. And, it puts you on the spot. It really does. But absolutely show them something. It may put you out of your comfort zone, as I said, but the best thing you can do, and it will give you the best practice by actually presenting to a real audience, especially when they want to see the magic. They've seen you practice, they've seen you doing some flourishes on the train, and they say, "Show us a trick," and you just go out there and do it. Don't be put off if your performance doesn't turn out as you'd hoped, okay? Just learn from your mistakes. Work out what went wrong, how it went wrong, how you can improve it for the next show or the next performance. And that's how how we all learn, and that's how we grow as sort of performers and magicians. We learn from our mistakes. And this is why I'm doing some of this for you as well, because it helps you understand the thinking behind it all. So the difference between, I guess, a professional and a beginner or an amateur is that a pro just knows how to deal with such situations most of the time, if they can. I mean, that comes from experience. I mean, the main thing is to sort of compose yourself, fake your confidence, and move on to the next effect. If you can, I guess, turn a mistake into part of the show, that's great. Brilliant. More often than not, that's the best way to do it, because the audience will not be sure whether the trick has genuinely gone wrong, or if it's part of the show, or if it's a mistake or not. And it's always better if you can pull it back into the show. If you can bring it back and save it, fantastic. If not, remember, you're a beginner. Just apologize, be honest, and promptly move on to the next trick. They're not going to mind. So just remember, try not to be nervous, get out of your comfort zone, and just go out and practice and perform. And that reminds me, I'm going to sum things up here, but when you're a beginner magic, a lot of beginner magicians always forget to have a trick on them. I know you're learning it all the time, but always at least have one trick with you, always that you're able to perform a trick at a moment's notice. Okay, so when you meet someone for the first time and you tell them that you're a magician, the first thing they're going to say is, "Show us a trick then." And it doesn't do anything for your image. As a magician, when you respond, "I have nothing on me. I can't right now. I don't have any props. I haven't got any cards on me." Real magic, I guess, shouldn't require anything. You should just be able to arm yourself with a few very quick visual or amazing effects that you can do anytime and anywhere. So there you have it. There are some top mistakes that sort of beginner magicians make when learning magic. I hope you've learned something, and I hope that it helps you. If you know someone that is interested in magic, share it with them, because these tips are like gold dust. I mean, I have a lot more to share with you guys, and I will be sharing more and more sort of top tips as we go. But I think for now, these are great sort of points to get you started and thinking about it. So I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your comments and your feedback. So yeah, if you liked what I had to say, drop a like and subscribe below, or just just friend me and I'll just stay in touch. Send me a message. I'd love to hear from you guys. All right, good luck with your magic. Have fun.